Welcome to another edition of Friday at 420. I'm your host, Mike Neighbors. Over the next 40 minutes, we are going to rock your world. Or at least that's what we always tell the girls right before we let them down. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. Let's introduce our panel as we get this started on this Friday at 420. Way over on my right, as usual, Mr. Patrick Coppolino.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno, Patrick. How are you, my friend?
I'm very good today.
Doing well?
Yes.
Feeling good?
Yeah.
Yeah? Have you had a little nip of Manolis' Ryan Coke there?
No, not.
You're not into that yet?
No, it's too early.
Still just drinking the coffee and the Nest tea.
Iced tea,
wow.
yeah.
You guys, this is late in the day. We're not. It's not like it's like 10 a.m. and you're down in caffeine like it's nobody's business.
Well,
It's
a
late
couple
in
of drinks a day is good for you.
Yeah, that says your doctor.
My gym teacher told me
My
that.
gym teacher, yes, because he needed to drink because he was Manolis' gym teacher.
This is also coming from the guy who said coronavirus isn't real because there's still traffic.
Oh, tell me I'm wrong. Oh my God, people are dying.
No.
That's why I'm waiting forever.
That person screaming into your left ear right now is the one and only Manolis Zontanos. Say hello, Manolis.
Hello, how are you doing?
Take an E, my friend.
Take an E. That's all I want to say. I'm
Okay.
really excited about our guest today. So.
Yeah, I know. We've got a couple of guests in the studio, so let's get right to that. Our special guest on this edition of Friday at 420. First and foremost, he needs no introduction to anyone who's been in this area and been out to a concert and heard the wonderful talents of Mr. Brian Melo.
Hello.
How are you, man?
I'm great, man. How are you?
You know what? First of all, welcome back to Canada.
Good to be back.
I know.
Good to
You
be back.
spent a long time living in Nashville.
I did. Yeah, I was
and-
down there for about 5 years.
Okay.
But just several months ago, decided to come back.
Came
home,
back
and
to the Hammer. Back
Hamilton
to
has a way of pulling you back in, right?
Well, especially when your name is Mello in Hamilton, that means you have 400 cousins.
I do.
I'm telling you, I have met more Mellos, and it's like, and everybody goes, like, Brian Melo? And they're
Yeah,
like, oh, it's my cousin.
It's like the Portuguese
It's
Smith.
like, holy mackerel, eh? That's, you know what? And the only thing was, when you became famous,
Yeah.
everybody became your cousin.
Man.
There's people who aren't even related, right? Going, Mello. Oh, yeah, that's my cousin.
Multiplied like you wouldn't
I know,
believe.
like, business. Well, it's great to have you back. It's great to have you be part of our little show Friday at 420
Yeah,
here.
happy to be here. Thank you.
And along with you is Greg Dobroski. Greg, how are you?
Good.
Greg, so this is your claim to fame, and the reason that we wanted to have
we
you
go.
on Friday at 420.
All right.
Well, because you are a guy who wants to do stand-up comedy but hasn't gotten up yet.
Yeah. Gutless right now.
Oh, yeah, Gutless Greg Dobroski is what we're going to call you. No, but I think this is interesting because there are a lot of people who listen to the Comedy Station all the time who love it, who think they'd like to try it, and have been not in your position, but almost in your position where they're like just about, you've literally been out at amateur night going, should I or shouldn't I put my name in the hat?
Every time I've gone up, it's gone a little bit further. I went up
Okay.
once, watched, and said, I can do it. And then I signed up. I called Patrick. I said, hey, I'm going to do it tonight. I emailed him. I called him. And then I chickened out.
Oh, so
I
close.
said, Manolis, please, I can't make it tonight. I don't have enough material. Then I showed up again. I put my hand in the bucket there to try and I didn't get picked. So I think the next time I'm going to
We're just going to
go
bite
for it. Yeah.
Rip the Band-Aid off,
Whether
brother.
it happens
Do you want
or
to do it
happens.
this Wednesday?
I can't this Wednesday.
Oh,
I'm working, but I am going to sign up next Wednesday. Here we go.
Oh, that's
Give it to me, did you?
All right.
All right.
Next one. Next one.
Next Wednesday.
All
right.
You heard it here.
You heard it here first, everybody.
Greg, you know what? It is singularly one of the hardest things that I ever tried to do.
Yeah.
And I don't do it now. I tried it. But I would encourage anybody to try it once, just to know where you stand, just to know how it felt, to know what's the worst that happens, right?
Yeah.
exactly.
You get
5
booed,
minutes
maybe.
of
Tomatoes.
5 minutes of crickets. All right, let's get into our game Friday at 420 with Brian Melo, Greg Dobroski, and of course Manolis and Patrick. Greg, I'm going to get you to drop the first Plinko puck.
All
And
right,
you get
all
the
right.
first topic here on Friday at 420. So Greg, go drop that puck. And let's see what number you get in our 12 random topics in official Bell Media envelopes. Number 5, topic number 5 for Greg on this Friday at 420. Greg, your topic is you can only use one social media platform. Which one are you going with?
Oh,
Which one's your favorite? You don't like any of them, but one of them, you have to
Yeah.
go with one of them.
Instagram.
Instagram? You're an Instagrammer? You like that one the best, you think?
Well, it's one of the more interesting ones, I guess. I
Yeah?
pop on it, but
If you follow even half of the half-naked women that Manolis follows, I'm telling you, Instagram, that's a whole new world of Instagram, man. I have, you know what? In fact, I followed a bunch of the women that Manolis follows, and then I realized other people could see who I was following, and so I was embarrassed. But most importantly, on International Women's Day, I didn't look. Okay, that was my tribute to. I was trying to be classy.
You and I are different people.
You bet you were different people. Brian Melo, your favorite social media platform? Which one are you going to use if you can only use one?
I guess Instagram. Does YouTube fall in that?
Is it?
Yeah.
You know what? I think so.
I would.
I think
YouTube's
so.
definitely more necessary in a way.
No, it's a social media platform. You can share videos, right?
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
sharing full stories there as opposed to the shorter versions, right?
Yeah, I guess I'll say YouTube.
Okay, YouTube. Yeah,
YouTube. And I mean,
you've had a lot of success on YouTube. You've put some stuff out there that people have really gotten into.
And I mean,
and
any
watched,
mood
right?
that you're in, I mean, you just type in those keywords and then you go down that little rabbit hole.
There's a fun game to play. I find it's the same with Google, but just try to find something that there isn't a video for. Right? I mean, like literally put in anything, and it's like, oh my God, somebody made a video of that. How is that possible?
Yeah.
Everything is there. Manolis, favorite social media platform?
Pornhub.
Pornhub? No. No. Manolis.
Yeah, well, it is social.
I bet.
Manolis, right
And you
into
can,
the,
but you can upload videos.
Oh, right.
I upload my stand-up up there.
No,
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that gets a lot of likes.
It takes forever to use. I think YouTube's more important in the sense of like as a artist because you need people to see your actual work.
Yep.
Because it's only like a minute or so like on Instagram, but Instagram is more fun for looking.
Yes, to pass the time, right? I mean, I'll jump on Instagram. That'll kill 10, 15 minutes of your day easy every time you jump on. Patrick Coppolino, favorite social media platform? Go.
I think Instagram too.
The gram.
Because it's easier. It's just
Somebody
like
loves the gram.
just one thing.
Hey?
It's pictures or videos.
Insta.
It's simple.
Yeah, it is. It is simple. You know what? I still.
And people can't see when you're online.
I like Facebook.
Yeah,
You
the
ever someone send you a
thing is
Facebook
old,
message
man.
and then they know you saw it?
Oh, and it's all lit up, and you're like, oh. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Now, is everybody
Okay.
floated away from Facebook? Have you found
Oh,
that?
that's
I think
almost like
It's
old
like
news.
it's old people stuff. Right?
Yeah, I
yeah.
guess
It's
so.
like once your mom was on looking at your stuff, you're like, okay, I can't do this anymore,
Jeez.
man. My mom doesn't know who I follow on Instagram, so.
Anybody block their mom on Facebook?
You gone that far? I haven't gone that far.
Manolis' dad just got Facebook. 92 years old.
92, and he's on the book.
He's on the book and he'll ask me questions like, "Oh, you were in Sudbury this weekend." I'm like, how do you know that? It's like, oh, the Facebook. I'm like, oh
Facebook.
my God.
Oh, Dad's on the Facebook. Everybody make George. We should send everybody to George's page.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
Everybody request George.
Yeah. There'd be like, say there's
Zontanos.
like, if there was George Zontanos. Yeah, if there's like 100 requests, my dad wouldn't even understand what that meant.
No,
Like, he'd be like,
no. I want at some point for somebody to look at your dad's Facebook and see 1,000 requests and none have been answered.
Yeah, I asked people to request, like, add me on Facebook from this. No one's ever done it.
No.
Zero.
No.
Zero. I guarantee my dad will get like a 2,000.
He'll get a ton. Brian Melo, get up and drop a Plinko puck as we continue on Friday at 4:20 with Brian Melo, Greg Dobroski, our guests in studio for this edition of the show.
We'll go 4.
Number 4. Yeah, we don't. It doesn't really matter where it lands. I mean, we're not super particular about it. It's just a means to an end. Brian Melo, what's the best board game? What's the best board game? If you got to play a board game, you're at some cottage, they've got no electricity, what are you going to play?
Man. Okay.
Yeah, you got to think about it for a second, eh? Anybody else got an answer while Brian thinks about his?
Monopoly.
Monopoly? Are you a Monopoly
Yeah.
guy? You
I
like
just
Monopoly?
got my daughter into it, and then I'm starting to appreciate it again.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's fun.
Yeah. Stealing
But at
money
some
from your
point,
daughter.
someone's throwing that
Yeah.
game board off the table. Right?
You gotta wait
It's
till it gets
frustrating.
near the end, though, eh? Like you
Yeah.
gotta build your. As soon as it's up and going, then it's fun. At the very
Yeah.
beginning, it's
Oh,
a slow
it's a little bit of a
process,
grind, right? Yes, and that's where that length of time it takes to play, right? Your Monopoly's you're gonna be in for a little while before it really gets going.
Brian?
Brian,
Risk
That's
was,
what I
yeah,
was
I
remember
used-
playing Risk?
Yeah, I
High
remember
school
playing
guy?
Risk. Yeah. So
Play a little
I'd
Risk?
probably say Risk.
Those games would go. That
They
could
just go on forever.
right?
Yeah.
You could sit there and go. Me and the guys playing some Risk for about 9 hours.
I know. But with all these game board cafes that are coming out now too, it's like I'm just kind of like dusting these old games off.
Yeah. That's very cool. Greg, what do you think?
You know what? He took it right out of my mouth. The Risk was my
guy?
favorite.
Yeah?
I used to play that in high school. We used to have literally
like
played
tournaments.
it. It would stay there, and then we'd go out that night. And the one thing when you get home, you're staggering on your way back. Don't
hit the board.
Don't step on the. I know what countries I had. Don't be
Knocked all
goofing
my
around.
armies off. Manolis, what are you saying? Now, Manolis is actually very good at this because he collects board games for the Levity Comedy Club Lounge. So in the foyer, you've put all kinds of old games in there for people to play.
Yeah,
right?
no, there's a lot of good ones.
That's very cool. So what's your favorite?
Partly, I like Snakes and Ladders.
Okay, that was a classic. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one, though,
I love
isn't it?
I just loved it because you're like, buddy will be like so far ahead, and then he'll land on that one snake, and he goes, "Oh!" It's like it's such
Something
a
satisfying about that.
yeah, it's a metaphor like for life.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a metaphor
Did
for
you guys?
life.
I can't.
I
Think
thought you were
of
going to
his
say
name.
Candyland.
What's the singer's name? The original singer from AC/DC.
Bon Scott.
Bon Scott.
Yeah.
Thank you. My brain was just my brain.
Yeah, your
and,
brain, yeah.
It's my brain. Bon Scott. There's this old song from the AC/DC with Bon Scott, and it's the coolest part of the song where he goes like, all he says is this. He goes, ladders, snakes, ladders give, snakes take. and I'm like, it's the coolest part. It's like, and he goes, rich man pie, and you're like, yeah. You're like, this is so cool. Bon Scott was like, that was AC/DC.
Bon Scott was.
he was the man.
He was pretty amazing, man. Patrick Coppolino, best board game.
You said Monopoly,
right? Sorry, man. We've been around the board. Everybody's gone. My favorite is Rebound. You lent me the Rebound game.
See, I haven't
It's
played
not
that.
technically it's not technically a board game, but it kind of is. It's like a shuffleboard where it bounces off the
marble,
elastics.
the little marble,
the little
that goes
marble
around.
that slides around. I borrowed it off Manolis, took it to a family party at Christmas. I am telling you, we had a Rebound tournament. People played for hours because any age can play. It was the best, man. I love Rebound.
Like, late 70s, early 80s. Was
The
that
party that I went to, yeah. Last time I was out of the house. Drop that Plinko puck, Manolis Zontanos. Yeah, it was late 70s, I think, was when Rebound was popular. Topic number 8 for Manolis Zontanos. And your topic on Friday at 4:20 is, how many kids do you think you're going to end up having?
Oh.
How many do you already have?
How many does he have?
I had to leave it open for everybody. How many kids do you, in the end, like you're looking down the road, do you think, when you look back on your life, how many kids do you think that you will have created?
I can tell you I created onto
0?
tissue.
Wow.
How much your laundry is
yeah.
DNA?
Not how many kids have you wasted? All right, that's I didn't ask that
I'm like a
question.
tsunami, man.
Yeah, that's right.
I would like to.
Do you think you'll have?
I don't.
Do you think
so.
you'll have kids?
I'd like to have one. If I could find someone that likes me,
Enough to have a
I think
kid.
that's the more important question. You know what
Does
I mean?
anybody
I
like
think
you?
No one likes me.
Do you think you will
I
end
think-
up with having a
I
child?
would like to have a kid. I'm thinking I wouldn't mind even just donating some. You know, put it in a
Don't
jar.
make some kids.
Yeah, donating some kids.
Put it in a jar, throw it in the fridge, and
sure,
just
that's it. That's how it works.
tap it in when you're ready.
Yeah, exactly. Right, Manolis has
But
a
can't-
sperm donor. No.
No, I
No,
can't. I can
no,
be a
I don't
sperm
think so.
donor.
No,
Why not?
Because you don't just like throw it at them. It's like, no, there's a process here. It's medical.
You find a place and I'll go.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
We'll do it live.
There's actually we'll do it live.
We're going live.
Damn it, Facebook Live. Oh no, that's for old people. Patrick Coppolino, how many? You have one
I
daughter.
have one.
Is that enough, or do you think you'll have more kids?
I could see myself maybe having one more.
One more, you think?
but
2?
That's it.
2 would be the cap.
Cap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you like to have a son, or does it really matter?
No, I wanted a son before, but now that I have a daughter, I'm so happy that I had a daughter instead, because I see kids, like little boys all the time now, and they're assholes. My daughter's such a little princess, right?
First of all, he swore, so now I'm going to have to edit that. That's fantastic. Make it work for me. But on the other hand, you're not wrong. Brian Melo, what about you? How many kids? Looking like from as an old man, Brian Melo's looking back and going, I'm really glad I had how many kids?
think 2 kids is
Two
the magic
kids is
number
it?
for me,
yeah,
man.
you think you're gonna go 2?
I think you need a buddy to play with, but then
Yeah.
after that, I think I'll be good.
That'll be
But,
good.
Yeah.
All right.
So
No big family. No 10 kids running around. Woo-hoo!
no, I think I'm good.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think
That's
2 kids.
That's a lot of work, man. Yeah. What about you, Greg?
Oh, I got 3 boys.
You got 3 boys.
3.
So are you done? Are you tapped out, or would you like to go for the girl?
It's almost like, yeah, that's the thing. It's like you're supposed to be retired, but you're always thinking it in the back of your head, right? You wouldn't mind. I'd like a little
Well,
girl.
he's married. He's married to my sister, so I can talk for my sister. Yeah, no more kids.
Yeah, that's what she said. Oh, wow.
How old are your boys?
10, 11, 12.
10. Wow.
So
That's like
good order.
That's a football team coming at you, man.
Right.
Was
mackerel.
my statement incorrect or?
I always wanted I wanted a son, but then
Yeah.
when you have the
2
sons,
more.
then it's like, yeah, I wouldn't mind a daughter, like daddy's little girl, and hey, where's dad?
Something
And,
to
you know,
soften
yeah.
this house up a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, whose turn is it to Plinko? I think, Patrick, you're up to bat. Get up there and drop a Plinko puck, my friend.
Do you want any more kids?
I would have had more kids. I know there were some technical reasons that we only had the 2. I have 2 daughters. I agree. I could care. Like, it wouldn't matter to me. I don't feel like I really like to have a son. I love my girls. And you really get the sense women can be anything. Like, I understand there were limitations years ago, right? But there are no limitations on what a daughter can become. So that to me wasn't there. But I probably would have gone 5. I would have had 5 kids. Yeah. No, my wife just said the same thing. 5? There's no damn way. What number did you get there, buddy?
8.
My dad came from a family of 11.
Yeah.
I like that big family.
Yeah,
Was
my
cool,
dad comes
man.
with a family of 8.
Of 8.
So
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that.
My
I
mom-
get
Like,
that.
just so many, right?
Yeah.
There's so many around that you can even not like a couple of them. You're okay.
And you're still okay.
Well, even Brian, even your family's 4, right?
4, yeah.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, it's pretty big. And he's got 500 cousins. So
Oh, yeah.
don't forget
Yeah.
the 500 cousins.
Oh,
The
absolutely.
mellow army.
I'm going to take 9 because we already did 8.
Okay.
So that's close enough. What separates a good stand-up comic from a great stand-up comic? In your mind. And Brian, I'm going to make the adjustment because you're a singer.
Yeah.
I want to make that adjustment. What's the difference between a good singer and a great singer? So first I'll start with Patrick. A good stand-up comic and a great stand-up. What do you think is the essence of the difference there?
I think comfort level and being able to adapt. Like, there's comics in my mind that I know I could throw into any situation and they'll probably be able to handle it.
Right.
And there's some really good comics who, in certain situations, wouldn't
Very
be able
specific.
to. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think
Excellent.
that would be the deciding. Yeah.
And would it be their material that can adapt, or is it they
I think
themselves
it's
that
just
can
them.
adapt their material?
They can a little more think on the fly. They can switch
Okay.
up their material. I think comics that are equally as good at crowd work as they are at their material is a great quality too.
You know, Manolis is really good at that. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's why I
Manolis
like
takes
at
on whatever crowd
those
he
Legion
has,
shows
so-
we do.
Yeah.
That's why he always goes first, because he's so good at getting on their level and figuring out where they're at and stuff. Yeah, it makes it easier for us. So,
Manolis, what do you think is the difference between a good comic and a great comic?
For me, one thing is like I really want to feel like that's who they are. I don't like when I see comics and they're not
They're not their genuine selves.
Like their stage presence is kind of like a different version of who they are. It's like a kind of fake. I don't like that. I just
Right.
don't like. I just
You know
just
what?
don't like
and
it.
it's really interesting because
I don't like the shtick. I don't like the shtick. It just you lose me.
so I've been following you for it was about 8 years ago, the first time I ever saw you perform. Okay,
Right.
And the one thing, if you'd asked me then, what's the one thing about Manolis that you like? I would have said, that's who he is. He's just himself on stage.
Yeah.
I mean, and why you're so great at this show is that you're just who you are.
Yeah, I'm not. And
Warts and all, right?
I mean, in their
a lot of warts. A lot of warts.
yeah, and their defense of those kind of comics, I don't have the brain capacity to do another
To
thing.
do a performance, they're almost a character. They're playing a character on stage or something, right?
I mean, if I was to get in a movie, the guy would like, I need you to do no, you don't.
Right.
You get this. This is you get what you're. This is me. This is it. You know?
Just as a follow-up to that, I also felt the same about you, Patrick, that you're very much who you are. Bit of an asshole. You said it first. Brian Melo, what's the difference between a good singer and a great singer? What do you think is the difference?
You know what? There's a lot of parallels to stand-up comedy.
There is.
I think
That's why
when
it's
you're
such a
on
cool
stage
thing,
performing, there's a lot of parallels. But it's the same thing that Manolis said. Is like I got to believe you, when you're on stage. So there's the technical side of things. Obviously, if you can just sing well, that's great.
Yep.
But if I don't believe you and you're not pulling me in, then
feeling it, right?
Yeah, I gotta feel it. I got.
And that's almost you do a lot of mentoring. You've been doing a lot of mentoring, and you've got some other opportunities where you will mentor young singers and stuff.
Yeah.
And you almost probably get to a point with some of them where it's like, I don't know if I can teach you.
Well,
there's some things you can't teach that they have to.
They have to feel, but also I think, especially in this day, going back to the whole social media thing, is they're trying to live up to something, especially these younger artists. No, this is what people want me to be,
right?
And you can sense that on stage, So if they can just get comfortable with their insecurities and just be vulnerable, I think that's when those things happen. Like Manolis, like when you're performing, that self-deprecating, like being able to make fun of yourself
and being vulnerable,
be vulnerable, I think is awesome. It's
so funny because you're talking about singing, you guys are talking about comedy, and it's the exact same thing I teach kids who want to be on the radio.
Yeah.
Like it's like I keep saying to them, don't be who you think should be on the radio.
Yeah.
You've got to just be you. You got to find your voice. Don't pretend you're a newsreader. Just tell me the news the way you want to tell me.
Yeah.
Do you ever see that interview with Peter Frampton?
No.
Okay, it's I think some documentary, but he talks about Peter Frampton live. You
Right?
know,
Yeah.
biggest at that time, it was the biggest selling
Double live album ever.
ever.
Yeah.
So the success of that album. So he said the next album that he actually made, he thought in his head that he wrote the next album what he thought they wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And it flopped. Right. He says what I should have done is I wrote what got me here was I wrote everything that I want.
I'm guilty for that.
Yeah.
Because after Idol, there was all these expectations.
Yeah.
Right. And I was just 20-something, 25, 26
You're
years
so
old.
young, man.
Yeah.
You got to cut yourself some slack.
Yeah,
right?
but you set these expectations for yourself, but then you start thinking, well, what do they want?
They want you to follow a formula or something. No?
Yeah, and I had to learn that the hard way of like, it's not about trying to please people.
Right.
It's about just wearing your heart on your sleeve, being you, and let the chips fall as they may. But when you're growing up and you kind of get shot out of a cannon like that, it can take a second to.
So looking back on it now, I mean, is it none of us have regrets. We did what we did, and it was great. But do you think that it also causes a lot of problems that you aren't necessarily prepared to handle?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think
preconceived notions, all those other things, right?
I think if you don't have the right support system,
right?
I come from a really strong support system. My family's always been there for me, so if I didn't have that, you could probably get off the rails really quickly. So, but I mean, I'm a self-reflective person, so I'm always trying to find ways to get better. But there's some people that won those shows at the age of 18, 19. Yeah. I don't think I would have been ready if I was that young.
So, it was crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So. There's like a waiter from Kingston, I think, who wasn't ready. He was the first winner.
He
just disappeared after that, right? It was like
it's
crazy.
Tough, man. The industry's tough in general,
Super tough.
So it's just it's just a lot to handle, man. I don't think any of us we're all trying to sort of figure it out.
Well, we appreciate the vulnerability there, Brian Melo. That was very cool, man. Greg, what do you think makes the difference between a good stand-up comic and a great one? You've watched a lot of stand-up comedy. You want to do this. What do you think makes the difference for you?
I don't know if I'm qualified to actually.
I
could have my opinion.
You're a fan. You're a fan of stand-up comedy.
You guys were saying it earlier. These two guys, and Brian included, like they're professionals. They've been doing it for a long time, and they're all good at it. But they're all different, right?
Right.
The confidence is there, and I think that's something that's confidence in talking about what you want to talk about and bringing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I would think. I don't know.
Just feeling well.
I'm going to find out soon enough. Next Wednesday.
Greg Dobroski,
I'm going up, do or die.
He's going to do an amateur night. He hasn't done it yet. He's on the list. We put him on the list already.
All right, so I don't have to email that in, right?
Whose turn?
It's Greg's.
Whose turn? Greg, get up there and drop a Plinko puck. Greg Dobroski, Brian Melo, our special guest in studio for this edition of Friday at 420.
Three.
Brian, before we get to topic number 3, I did want to touch on so you're in the process right now of recording and writing the solo album, So it's not all written yet. You're still writing.
I mean, since I've been home, I've probably written about 25 songs.
Okay.
And Still writing for the next few months, but I'll be hopping in the studio.
And going to skin some of that down and then find the gems.
Yeah, it's exciting because, I mean, I was down in Nashville for about 5 years with the trio by the name of Apollo's Crown.
Yep.
And you know, just decided to come back home and get back to doing my own thing.
What did you learn from working with them? What was your takeaway? Because you were a solo artist before that. What's your takeaway coming back home and sort of getting started on your own stuff?
I mean, it's...
Because that's a little bit of a different groove, right?
It is. It is. I mean, I learned a lot, you know, being able to communicate and compromise your ideas, but also, you know, knowing that I'm also a little stubborn.
Okay.
And that I have my own ideas as far as how I want to approach it. And sometimes it's just better if I go on my own.
Just go in and dig in, right? Yeah.
Create it. But also, I mean, it's such a songwriter's town down there. So being able to work with these incredible writers every day down there, I just learned so much about the craft.
It's a very cool
just
place,
that
man.
much more than when I was living here. So
excellent.
Learned a ton.
Topic number 3 on this Friday at 4:20 is: do you do your own taxes? Greg,
No.
you do your own taxes? You got a guy? You got a guy?
I had a guy. He retired. Now I got to find a new guy.
Damn it.
Anybody know?
H&R Block, baby.
H&R Block. All right. Well,
He's set up in every Walmart.
I'm a little scared to do my taxes this year. But
So you wouldn't attempt that?
no.
No. Brian?
Absolutely not.
No, you got a guy?
No, yeah.
Does everybody have a guy? Does nobody do their own
think
taxes?
My guy retired.
It was the same guy.
Same
Greg.
guy. Yeah.
So what are you going to do now?
I don't know. I guess give up.
What are you going to do with your shoebox?
Oh, just don't pay.
I got audited. Is that I think?
Oh, did you? Yeah.
For 2018, they want proof of all the things I'm writing off. So I had to figure out. Also, I got a letter from the CRA.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there's like I apparently owe them $1,300. I'm like, where's this coming from? And then so I looked into it, and then like I mailed like all my old receipts from 2018, and now I just gotta hope that everything's gonna be okay, I guess.
So the audit was of the work that was done by the guy who retired, or
yeah, the
right?
guy that retired, he helped me, but thank God, like so I write that like I keep all my food receipts together, right? Yeah. But so you write them all out, and then you add them up, and this is my food, and this is my gas. So I purposely never I would just throw whenever I buy rye and Coke, I put that. I just have this. Well, not Coke, but rye bottles of rye. I just throw that receipt in the food fund, in the food one. But then I'm like, long time ago, I was like, maybe I should just put this in there. I'm like, no, you know what? I better not. Thank God. Like all of a sudden,
because that would have been a much larger number.
Well, that's the guy would look at it and go, this guy wrote off because he's got my. This guy wrote off
you can write off rye.
$2,000 worth of rye.
He's a stand-up comic. Of course he did.
It's leisure activity. Isn't that included?
But because you're self-employed. I mean, that's why you're writing these things off. You're basically running the business of Manolis Zontanos, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I write off a lot of things, but yeah.
Yeah. Patrick, do you do your own taxes?
No, I don't. And I didn't realize till this conversation that tax guys are like drug dealers. Everybody, I know a guy.
Yeah,
I know a
He's
guy.
my guy.
Everybody's got a guy.
I don't have. Actually, you do have a guy.
You have a guy.
And much like drug dealers, I actually can't say who it is.
No, we don't want names.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting thing, right? It's something you have to do every single year.
But see,
but most of us are like, wow, it's like overwhelming, the idea of trying to work out those numbers and figure that out.
I'm 2 years behind now, but before that, I was like 6 or 7 years that I hadn't done it at all.
Yeah.
And then my guy took care of it. My guy took care of it, and I got
Excellent. All right, whose turn is to drop a Plinko puck? Brian, you're up. Get up there and drop a Plinko puck on this Friday at 4:20. Brian Melo, Greg Dobroski, our special guest in studio. Number one, Number one, would you live in the U.S.? Well, that's a crazy question for you. How did you find living in the U.S. versus living here? Was that good, bad, indifferent? Doesn't really matter. What did you think? You lived in Nashville for 5 years. Is it different, or did it not really feel?
I mean, it's the same in some ways, and it's different in others.
Yep.
So some of it was, I loved. I mean, the people down there were incredible.
Now, you were living in a really creative cultural area, right? I mean, there's a lot of creativity, a lot of creative people and stuff like that. So that's a little
which
bit
was
different.
great. But still, you're sort of in some pockets. So
yeah.
Definitely heard a lot more gunshots than I do in Canada, if I'm being honest.
It's Nashville, baby.
So I mean, I was living in an area where it was. We were in a suburb, but probably about 2-3 blocks away from this like not so great area.
Okay.
And we would hear. I've heard a couple drive-bys. I've heard some like things. I was like, okay, it's starting to get real over here. So I mean. I definitely feel a little bit safer when I'm up here, if I'm being honest.
When they say that song is #1 with a bullet in Nashville, they mean it, man. That is #1 with a bullet. Manolis, would you live in the U.S.?
Yes, I would.
Yeah? Where would you want to live?
I think I want to. I wouldn't mind. Like LA's cool, but New York, you get on stage more.
New York,
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know about music, but stand up is easier to get on stage.
Right.
But it is different though. I'm like more cautious of like if some guy's like trying to like mess with you out of nowhere, you just like, oh, is this guy seems too confident, and in my brain it automatically goes, oh, he's got a gun.
Right.
I don't know.
For sure, man. Like
There's
even the
a
road
gun-
rage, like when I was driving down there and saying, like I was like, maybe I'm not gonna. I'll just let this guy
that
scream
gun
at me
culture
and-
is not dreamed up by the media. I mean, it exists in a large way, right? So,
Yeah, and I'm thinking like, oh man, if I step up, I might die.
Yeah. It's not going to be fisticuffs.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I don't mind. I don't mind if I don't mind if I have to fight someone with my fist. So be it. But I don't want to. I'm not Wonder Woman.
So be it. More true words have never been spoken on this show than Manolis saying, "I'm not Wonder Woman." Patrick Coppolino, what do you think? Would you live in the U.S.?
Yeah. For the same reason.
Where would you like to live?
For comedy, probably something like New York would probably
New York?
be best. But I like the warmth. So anywhere, not even necessarily LA, but anywhere in California would be.
Or someplace in Arizona or
ideal.
something super hot.
Yeah, maybe too hot.
It's dry heat, man. It's dry heat. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Greg, what about you? Would you live in the U.S.?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I've been there.
Are you a Hamilton
I'm not-
guy?
Yeah, I'm from Hamilton.
Okay.
I mean, is it the same?
Have
Control and all that. Maybe the laws aren't the same.
Have
but
you lived in the U.S.?
I've never lived in the
Okay.
U.S. I've been through the
Been
U.S.
through there,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, I've been to Florida. I've been to all over Pennsylvania.
Could you see yourself retiring in Florida?
No.
No?
No. Maybe like the wilderness somewhere.
Okay,
But
yeah,
maybe in
away
Canada,
from people.
No, I don't think in the States. Yeah.
Yeah. I would agree with you there. I think in general, whether it's in Canada or the States, the one thing I could see myself doing is retiring away from people.
Yeah.
As I get older, I get far less tolerant of people around me, and like having neighbors like right behind me and stuff is like, you know what? I want to get away from that.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you in your Speedo.
I don't mind
barbecuing.
visiting.
Yeah.
Visiting's fun.
Visiting's fun, but when
then,
he's out
I'm
barbecuing
done.
in the Speedo, I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I don't need to see that.
With a 6-shooter, yeah.
Yeah, with a 6-shooter. Is that what we're calling it now? Is that what the kids are calling it, a 6-shooter? Whose turn is it to drop Plinko Puck? Go ahead. We're grinding through the topics. Got time maybe for one more.
I have a neighbor in the building across the street from me, and he's always sitting in his like every night he's sitting in his living room on the computer on his laptop. He's like a bigger set guy. He's always in his underwear, just on his laptop, eating food for hours, and he leaves the drapes wide open. All the lights are on. It's like 2 a.m.
Wow.
You know what he's doing? He's watching Manolis' stand-up on Pornhub. Yeah. That's what he's doing.
You sure you're not a comedian?
I know. No, I'm not, brother. I'm just a radio guy. Which one of your parents had the biggest impact on you? Your parents may be listening, so just be gentle with the other one. But which one had the biggest impact? Not always positive, negative, whatever. Which one had the bigger impact?
Oh, my dad.
Your dad, definitely, eh?
my dad's- my
You
dad.
talk about your dad a lot. You help take care of your dad a lot. You spend a lot of time with your dad. Your dad's 92. He's been on the show.
Right.
Great character, but a big, tough old Greek guy.
Yeah.
Like tough. He's tough.
He's tough. He could, if you let him, he would like take over anything. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
if you,
he knows everything.
If we all landed on an island that was just us, my dad would be in charge.
Right. He would take charge. He was just no. And,
It's like, okay, you go get bananas and you go and go dig the dirt right now, and then you shut up. You just be quiet. Like, it was just like.
It's so true.
But, you know, and
He took over the show when he was on. It was like, you ask me a question now.
Yeah.
It's like,
whose
what?
turn is it?
Whose turn is it? I'm going to Plinko. Yeah. All right. Patrick. both your parents enjoy listening to the show. They've both
Yeah.
been on the show. Which one do you think had the bigger impact?
Well, I mean, my mom, after my parents got divorced, my mom, we lived with my mom and my sister, so she raised us more.
Right.
But after a few therapy sessions, I think maybe I realized indirectly my dad might have had a bigger impact on me.
It happened. They both had an impact. I mean, both your parents definitely had an impact on your life. But at some point, you kind of go, wow, I can see where a lot of this came from.
Well, my mom had the single mom guilt, and we got away with a lot more.
Okay.
Like once they split up.
Yeah,
you
carry a little bit of
spoiled.
your dad can be a bit of a troublemaker. Brian Melo, what do you think? Which of your parents had the greater impact on you?
Yeah, I mean, same. I mean, I love them both, but I'd have to say my dad.
Your dad, yeah.
As well, too. Just taught me a lot, just great examples on how to be a decent human.
Right, and a bunch of kids, right?
Yeah.
So he was wrangling a bunch. How brothers and sisters? What do you got?
Yeah, I have 2 older brothers and older sister. The youngest of 4.
Wow, you're your baby.
Yeah, I'm the baby.
Oh, he's the baby of
Yeah.
the family, everybody. We should
no.
go easy on him. And your dad was how? What about your singing? Your musical career? Who had the greater impact there? Was it who's the singer in the family?
Neither.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey,
So
interesting.
My 2 older brothers were actually musicians,
Oh,
and
wow.
still are. My
Yeah.
one brother is out there performing all the time.
That's cool.
So they had a big influence on me. But
Okay.
there was music around the house all the time.
Yeah.
So I would say both of them. They were
Okay.
just playing like Dean Martin and Marty
awesome.
Robbins and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's very cool,
Yeah.
man. Greg, what about you? Which parent had the greater impact on you?
I think I'm gonna say my dad as well. I think my mom was a school teacher, and she used to, help me with all that sort of stuff. But my dad's work ethic, my dad's he's disabled now. He's in a home, and but he's still trucking along. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a tough
guy,
old guy.
tough,
Yeah. And just the way he pushes forward no matter what, right?
Right.
And I look up to that. It's one of those things where I just. I hope never to be like that, but
Right, yeah.
but he's a tough old guy.
Oh,
and
that's
he's
cool,
pushing
man.
away.
That's cool. I think it's always valuable. To me, it's always valuable to take a look at all the things we got from both of our parents and those impacts and the impact they had, both good and bad. And it's nice, and it's especially nice if you can let them know. Because that's the one thing, your kids kind of, they grow older and they kind of bugger off and go do their own thing and visit you once in a while and bring you flowers. But it's nice if you have the chance to tell them, hey, I realized that the reason I'm crazy is because of you. So, listen, thanks for that. Let's go around the horn quickly and find out, Greg, how do we follow you on social media? Do you do much on social media yet, or you're waiting until the stand-up career takes off?
Yeah. I'll wait for that, and then
You're
I'll
gonna wait
plug
for that?
something.
But we're going to see you on Amateur Night, aren't we?
Amateur night. 2
Okay.
weeks.
Next Wednesday,
Next
people.
Wednesday.
Next
Levity
Wednesday.
Comedy Club. Wednesday nights are amateur nights. Quite often you'll get a chance to see Manolis and even Patrick perform there. And very soon, Greg Dobroski is going to be up on the stage. Yeah, it's live on the radio now, brother.
Pressure.
You got no choice.
I think I'm going to have to go home and write some new material.
Brian, working on the solo album.
Yeah, I'm working on the solo album, and I got a lot of music mentoring programs that I'm releasing around town. So
Excellent.
songwriter weekends and some rock camps that we're doing this summer called
That'd
the
be very
Almost
cool.
Famous Music Career Camp at Studio 410. But everyone can find me on Instagram, Brian Melo Music.
Yeah.
And yeah, all the updates are there.
Brian
yeah.
Melo Music and a website? Same? No
Yeah, but
website?
we're redoing the website right now.
Okay, don't go to the website.
So, yeah, don't
Go
go to the
to
website. You're not
Instagram.
going to find much right now.
No. You'll see on Instagram when the website's ready.
Yeah,
there you go. All right, Brian, thank you so much for doing the show today. Greg, you as well. Appreciate
you.
it. Manolis,
Can you help me promote the podcast? You say it better. You do it better.
hey, everybody. Manolis would like you to know that all the previous episodes of Friday at 420 are available on Spotify, iTunes. You can also see them on YouTube. There's audio versions on YouTube. And we'd love for you to download some old versions of the show and listen to them at your leisure because we think we've got something that's been kind of fun. We've got 90. This is our 92nd episode. So
That's pretty good.
download some of the earlier ones and see how much fun we made of Manolis then.
Yeah, see, that would have took me 5 minutes to say that.
I went for a while, but I could see I had to stretch just a little bit. Patrick Coppolino, Levity Comedy Club, where Greg will be debuting.
Oh, man.
He's
Very
headlining
soon.
all weekend.
He's headlining. You know what? Screw amateur night,
Oh,
buddy.
yeah.
Straight to headline.
Well, now it's going to be a headliner.
You're going to put me on last.
But for people like Greg, who would love, there is an opportunity for you to try it out. If you've never tried it, or maybe you haven't done it for a long time and would like to get back into the gig, they can get in touch with you at Levity Comedy Club, and amateur night is Wednesday nights, right?
Yep. Yeah, levitycomedyclub.com/amateur night. All the info's there on how to sign up.
And pro shows on Friday, Saturday nights, all kinds of other things going on. So keep going to the website for lots of entertaining opportunities. Downtown Hamilton, Levity Comedy Club. LevityComedyClub.com. Is that it?
That's it.
What's the Instagram?
At Levity Comedy Club.
At Levity Comedy Club.
Nice.
Wow. Yes, I'm going to have to memorize that. Hey, thank you, everybody. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, man.
Greg,
Thanks
appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Manolis, Patrick. Yeah, whatever. That's it for this edition of Friday at 420. Thank you most of all to you for listening. And until we get a chance to talk to you again in 7 days, have an awesome weekend.